Oh, so you notice no countdown clock, so you know what that means. The Mater is back here in the Super Mater.
Let's just get to it. There's no countdown. Yeah,
there's no countdown, right? Right. This is the real show right now.
Yeah.
So I'm Jaemeel, welcoming you to our newest recap of Big Brother Canada, episode 12, episode 11.
I thought it's 11. Is this that 11? I think it's
11 for 11.
Okay, 11.
Or it might be
Week
12.
5 nominations.
I think you might.
It's
be right.
week 5 nominations episode. I'm joined with Dave Mater. Hello, Dave.
Hello, I'm here, and I'm fixing the banner to say episode 12. So
Is it episode 12?
I think you're right about it being episode 12. Yes. So I'm going with that.
All right, and I'm also joined with the man in the toque, Foster.
Ayo, leading the charge, even though it's getting nice out.
Hey, I'm wearing this with shorts, so
Ooh,
I'm rocking
you're,
I'm rocking the life.
Double
We'll
statement
here because you guys are normally here. So
Yes. All right. So after a hectic week last week where, lines were drawn in the sand, right? We get an episode where it's clear as mud as what's going to be going on here.
Yeah.
So yeah, how did you all like this episode before we start this recap?
I thought it was a bit, compared to Thursday, it was a bit muted and a little bit. They were trying to calm things down. I think I was a little too calm in some ways. I thought that, but it felt like the house was trying to get past this really hard week, and that's kind of what the episode. It felt kind of like cathartic. That they were, just like, let's get down to it. And of course, this invisible HOH, which would normally be more exciting, I think was less exciting because I think that this is not maybe a time where we need this, but it was probably pre-planned.
now. Can you explain to me and everyone else who doesn't know, because they said, first of all, this is the second time that they've done an invisible HOH. So my first question is that do they do this in the US?
They've done a version of this in the US. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think in the BB15, Jaemeel, I think didn't Alyssa have like that invisible power where she could nominate a third nominee or something like that?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember
Okay, so
that.
not to the extent of Canada. And
Not quite.
Not quite. When was the first time that this was done
In Canada? Big Brother 9, wasn't it?
I thought it was last season, maybe it was the season before.
No, Spicy V.
Spicy V was the first of his. Yeah, you're right. Spicy V.
And she did a terrible job of keeping it secret.
Yeah, like
It was pretty straight.
Okay, and then lastly,
here it is.
This is Big Brother, not Find Your Bestie. All you and Brayden did was seclude yourself and act invisible. The only time it's good to be invisible in this game is when you're the invisible HOH. That's right, girl. It's me. I'm aligned with everyone in this house, and I have to put the bossy glossies up because I just didn't know where your heads are at, and that ain't good for my game. Sorry, girl.
Yeah.
We'll
Everyone
get
kinda
to
knew
we'll get to the names of the groups. The groups do have names somewhat.
Okay, yeah. But
I guess,
sorry.
And the last thing was that with the money, was this the first time with the 50 grand extra?
I believe so. Yeah.
Like betting it all down to like how did they get invisible HOH last time?
It was just like a competition.
It was just a competition,
and she happened to win it. So this was different. This was new. This bidding.
It was very distinguished.
Yeah,
it was very like mannerish, for a manor. You know what I mean? It was very elegant.
Mm-hmm. All I needed was little pipes, smoking pipes with bubbles. That's all that was missing.
Yeah, I thought that some parts of that were fun. I liked Kuzi kind of telling down Hope. You gotta be regal, man. You gotta be like looking cool for this.
You don't stand up and give hugs. You're supposed to be regal.
Yeah. And so I thought that some of that was fun to watch. But and I think that this whole bidding thing is interesting, although, you know, I don't like it's. I don't know. Is this a little bit of like trickery by the producers?
Yes and no. It's kind of meta in the sense that a similar situation came up in an Netflix has a show called Alice in Borderlands, which is a death game show, in the same vein as a Squid Game and a whole ton of other other shows. And they have a more diverse set of games that they play, involving some physical or mental. So in a mental competition in the second season, there was one where a group of individuals had to bid numbers between, I think it was 0 and 50, and based upon where you bid, the average, you would win or lose, right? And people with the wrong bid, or like a bid that was below, would lose a life. And I will go into the details about what ultimately happens, i.e., a scalding bucket of acid that was above their heads. But I find it interesting that we saw a similar type of game happening here. Obviously, a lot more safer. I still think that they're going to get the 50,000. I find it would be kind of like, yeah, you had the money and you didn't have the money. Like, that would be the easiest way if they didn't Survivor, where it's like, hey, we're going to up the prize to $2 million, but we'll give you immunity. We'll have you bid immunity if you're willing to give up half of it.
Yeah.
Right. Everyone is going to do it. Everyone's going to do it. Right. So.
Yeah, well, it only matters if you win. Like, so that's what's kind of interesting about it, in that. So they're saying, okay, guess what, everyone? The prize money's not 100,000; it's 150,000. Except if you want to be the HOH, you have to bid, and if it's not even if you win this HOH, it's only if you win the game many weeks from now that you would have to pay up on this. So that you're kind of putting this investment in potentially.
You have to give up your stipend.
Yeah, you know, and so that's the choice given. Ultimately, what, like 4 people choose to bid the full 50,000 in this invisible HOH. Mostly the people who seem to be the most desperate for it. You know, or the Ty, Dan S, Santina, and the fourth was Johnny, right? Jonathan.
But Jonathan doesn't necessarily seem super desperate. Hope, on the other hand, is a clear target for a lot of folks.
Mm-hmm.
And
he couldn't play, though.
Oh, yes. Very true. Very true. Yes. Okay. I was a little bit confused because I was like, why was Hope and Kuzi sitting down already before people came in? And then Doi, thank you, Dave. Kuzi was outgoing HOH, and Hope lost his chance to play for HOH. So it makes perfect sense. Dave there with the save.
Well, and you know, like they kind of like they established that right there, that, you know, like Hope, that was his penalty for the whole letter gate thing last week, as well as him losing his vote in the last, even though there wasn't an eviction. Like if they had voted, he would not have voted. And so, but it's Daniel C who comes in first. He's the first person to come out of the actual competition and explain this is an invisible HOH, which Hope and Kuzi didn't know, of course.
Yeah.
And that it was going to be based on bidding and everything else. And like Hope's losing his mind about it, but I'm like, Hope, this is great for you, man. Like, everyone's going to know you're not the HOH this week. No one has to be paranoid about you this week.
Well, he was so disappointed. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
And Kuzi too, right? Like,
yeah. Although you could understand Hope being very disappointed, because he's like, I could have been invincible. I could have been the invincible HOH.
The invincible HOH. Yes. He said it wrong about 8 times. And we're like, no, like those are different words, Hope. Invisible and invincible are not the same word. They have different meanings, different spellings.
Yes.
So yeah, that was funny. I think Hope, he's a guy with a big heart, not necessarily a big brain. But
very true.
Young and dumb.
Yeah. I agree. I loved how this looked.
Look good. Yeah. The desk. I was like, where did they get this desk? They just pulled that out of like the warehouse or something. Like
See, that brings up a really good question, because I was wondering, even with the big table that we're gonna see later on, right? With the round table, like they must have all these extra like hidden doors that are actually like they open up really wide, and they can get all of their next props or whatever, like next furniture or whatever or game stuff, right? Like it's crazy to me, because like there's obviously these waiting rooms, but it's a lot. It's big changes, right? And we obviously don't see the in between times, but it's interesting because some of these items seem very like big or elegant, or there's a lot to go around, right? Like how do the contestants hear this going on behind upstairs or wherever they are? Like where are they, right? I don't know. Can you guys tell me?
So for Big Brother Canada is in a warehouse, so they're able to like modular sets. So all this would come through the backyard, and the backyard features where the you see the chairs are in the workout area, and kind of like the lawn leading to the doors to the jacuzzi and such, right? So what would happen is those doors would be where you kind of slide in those big sets, right? Now, when they're changing things out, everyone would be in lockdown, which would be in the rooms, right? It's the same thing in Big Brother US, but US primarily they do a lot of their competitions in just the backyard, so they would just lock people in
which is a real
house.
Backyard that's actually outside.
Yeah, it's actually
unlike
outside.
this backyard, which is just
like a skylight, I believe. That's practically it, right? Although I think they open up the skylight. That's where the snow came in last time.
Oh, they can open that up. It's not just like a bigger extension of the warehouse, which is what it normally feels like.
Do you think that they put fake snow that time?
No, it could be. Yeah, and they might be in the HOH room or in here they have separate room, like they have more separate rooms to kind of sequester people in, and they'll just call you when it's your turn.
Yeah.
That's interesting, because it seems very functional, like very easy to kind of transition.
Well, yeah, if you compare these two houses, the US house and the Canadian house is like what? At least it feels like it's at least 3 times bigger than the US house. And it's got just way more space, way more sort of room. They're not as like crammed in. Like the US, you always kind of get like this feeling like there's more conflict maybe sometimes, just because there's nowhere to go.
They're on top of each other. Everyone has to go to the bathroom. Like the bathroom is huge in Canada versus it's like a salon, an actual full-size salon is their bathroom.
Plus they have the HOH bathroom.
Yes, which is also very big in comparison too. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah. So
it's just a lot roomier. Whereas like so this is like someone built a house, not even a house, like a mansion in a warehouse, right? Whereas the Big Brother US is basically a house on a lot. That's it.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting because like I guess like in Big Brother, like they're not going to, or US is not going to change their location or change their you think they would?
Supposedly either this season, next season, they're going to be in a new house because there's plans to break down the house.
The US house.
Yeah, US house.
The US house needs a remodel. It's nice that it's got this familiar layout that we've had from season to season, but on the other hand, I feel like mix it up,
I think infestation.
An infestation?
Well, every year you hear about ants,
sometimes rats. Yeah.
Outside of the players, the biggest rat I have ever seen.
Yeah. But you hear that the U.S. house often has these hygiene and like cleanliness issues, whereas the Canadian house doesn't seem to have any of those problems.
I think they do a better job of cleaning, and plus, because it's so spacious, it's harder for people to kind of like, oh, someone's eating in the bedroom. It's like, oh, there's crumbs. People aren't going to reach the crumbs.
Yeah. I think they're just better at, and it's just bigger, and I don't know. They seem to clean it better. Whatever. The U.S. house just feels so dirty by the end of it.
I have to agree with Jeff. It's too big for Canada. Like, if they could find a way in between, would be perfect. I don't like how bright it is in the Canadian house, but I like the functionality. I like there's tons of rooms. There should be tons of room in the Big Brother house.
Tons of rooms, but like they should be definitely not soundproof, and they should preferably, like, it's hard to go somewhere without being noticed, because here it's so easy to like, let's go to the backyard or the back patio, or let's go into any of the bedrooms, or into that pool room. With the pool table. That seems to be like the room that people really go to have private conversations, because the room just seems completely soundproofed. I'm like, and they always have to whisper.
The camera. I miss the camera in the HOH room.
Yeah, they always have to whisper in the US version everywhere they go. There's nowhere you can go, really, like, unless you're in the backyard, but then everyone knows you're there, so everyone sees it, and that's only sometimes that's open.
That being said, people don't care sometimes too. Like in this very episode, we see people all chatting together on the couches, and they're talking game.
Yeah, we saw at one point it was Dan S. and was it Shania who were having like a game conversation near the rest of them, and the rest of them were kind of oblivious to it all. Like,
well, the funny thing is, in one of the digital dailies, multiple people are having game talks.
Yeah.
So.
There you go. Even though they have all this space and they can go find.
I think they were in lockdown. That's why everyone was outside.
Okay. But it was like was it the actual outside, or was it the fake?
No, so here's the main place. The outside is where the workout area, the couches, and that leads to the doors to the jacuzzi and such.
The jacuzzi and all that.
What does lockdown mean?
So either they're doing something inside the house or outside the house. So they would be in lockdown either outside or inside. So if they're locked down inside, that means they're doing something outside. And then if they're locked outside, that means something is changing in the inside.
Guys, I just wanted to ask you too about the whole like, before we even got to the competition, it was kind of like 17 hours after Zach self-evicted, and like how the different house guests were reacting to it. We see a conversation with Kuzi and Ty where they sort of, I don't know, make up a little bit or something. We got Daniel, who's like still crying that Zach's not here. Dan S kind of telling us that he was like, oh, I'm starting to figure out that Zach didn't have my best interest at heart, and I wasn't his number one. No kidding, man.
Doy.
Yeah. And I thought, and the other thing too was like, we got this whole thing here with maybe was it at the beginning? I think it was at the beginning between Ty and Claudia. And I'm like, I thought Claudia dropped this guy. That was the word on the street. She
actually, like, there's a deleted scene where they supposedly broke up.
Yeah,
but no.
No. She just can't quit this guy because they're both introverts. We're told introverts.
I'm
going to speak about Ty. I'm going to speak about Ty at the end of the show. Okay. I have things to say.
All right, I'm getting ahead of myself. Jaemeel, keep us on track.
Well, I have minimal pictures because I was rushing. So
I have more if you need them, but
my next picture is all the people, put in their numbers, and then we don't know who the actual HOH is. There's a lot of speculation among all the different cast members. You can kind of see them feeling out. And
Renee, what?
Renee was not being very sly in terms of her in questioning and interrogating people about who she thought was HOH.
She was mad that she didn't go for the 50 right from the go.
Well, that's her. That's her being a dummy, like, to begin with.
Well, yeah. like because we also saw that the other, like Daniel C also didn't bid the whole thing, and then it was also this question about what the average bid was going to be if there was a tiebreaker, and some interesting choices there. I thought in terms of how they figured out the math.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I need you to go ahead.
Okay. It seemed to me that, and we'll get to it later, but it seemed to me that the range was about $18,000, I think, between the two guesses, but closer to 50,000 than it was anything else, because in the beginning they were all voting, like most of them were voting 25,000 or around that at least,
something
right?
like that.
So,
which made no sense. People aren't gonna pick 50 and 0.
Yeah,
like people are gonna put some number.
Saw some different bids here. Yeah, this is where Renee comes.
Renee starts drinking. I wonder if they had to refill her glass.
Yeah, I was like, "Is this? I think this is real wine," and it was, And then Renee started claiming other people's wines based on how much they bid or whatever else.
Daniel's shirt, I swear I had that shirt when I was like 8 years old.
Yeah, I think that's the one they sent you to class photos for, like when you got your school photo, and then sometimes they had that like hologram background behind you.
Yeah. I'm
That's
not
true.
feeling that better.
Yeah. This man, I don't know.
Can you point out that they chose Daniel to be the lead person to read everything? Like that was yeah. Do you think that was an interesting choice?
No,
I think it's probably random in all likelihood.
I think he might have had the best take out of everyone. Jonathan, who doing it?
Who doing it? Is this a who doing it week? I don't know how that works.
I like that man a lot. He's just a hoot.
Yeah,
he's a hoot.
I like him too. And the way he reads certain things. Yeah, there's your girl Renee with the wine. She was liking that.
So we're 10 minutes into the episode, and this is probably about 45 minutes of the episode is this. So Renee goes from one glass to how many glasses in 35 minutes is what the question is.
Yeah, I guess. Well, she was like the second person, right? Second person to go after Daniel C.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so she was just drinking until the last person went, which I guess was. Who was the last person to go? Ty? Was he the last person to go?
Was Ty off? No. Was it Santina or no? Not Santina.
Santina was near the end, actually.
Yeah, she was near the end, but
she wasn't the last. Some different things here. Claudia went after Dan S. She bid 43,000. If you're gonna go 43, just go.
You might as well go to 50.
Go to 50.
Yeah, I did understand that.
Yeah.
I understand that one bit.
She's thinking about like, well, on the island on PEI, that 43,000, would go a lot further. Then
that probably would have won the average bid.
You probably would have.
No, that would have. That if someone put 43,000 for the average bid for the tiebreaker, I bet you that would have won.
Right. Oh, I forgot Annika was also one of the maxed out bids too. And her tiebreaker 49,999.99. That's what she considered the average to be.
I don't know where that math. Yeah. I don't know what to say, Dave.
Isn't Annika like in finance or numbers, investment advisor? I don't think so. I think she's
just gonna round it up.
Yeah, because she was assuming everybody, but maybe one person would not bid the full maximum. That was her assumption.
But if that doesn't make any sense to me.
No, it doesn't make sense. Ty went after her, and he went for the 50, of course. And do we get his tiebreaker? He comes in. Him and Hope have a lot of tension. These two.
They got beef.
They got beef, guys.
They got beef.
Oh, there's.
Her glass is empty.
Yeah, she's like, I would like your wine.
Look at her. She's on the hunt for more wine.
She's the spicy bee of this season.
She's staring down the table. She's like, bring me the next full glass.
Yeah. She was still going for that a little bit later. Yeah, we see Ty they were all trying to get along here, you know, which was nice. Oh, yeah. And then, of course,
I'm sorry.
This man tried to read this word. Who done it? It's maybe one of the best moments I've ever seen. He's just like, oh, what is this?
I felt that he offset the serious tone of this part of the episode. Like all of a sudden, it just was really serious, quiet, and you just like you didn't want to like. I wasn't even like taking much notes. It was just like kind of like just watch and see, right? And then Jonathan comes in with I can't do it, Dave. Can you do it, please?
Oh, doing it.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, I have who done it. He goes for the 50 grand. I'm trying to remember what his
okay. If everyone picks 50 and one person picks 49, picks was it? Everyone picks like 50,000, and then someone picks 49,990. Right? You can't get 9999998. You can't.
You're still on that.
Yeah. And there was some like Jane and I were watching this, and she's like, "It didn't like Price is Right, like closest without going over." It turns out not to be that. It turns out just to be closest. Whether you're over, it doesn't matter. So, we see the last one. Shania went after Jonathan. She did not. Did she bid the whole amount? I don't think she did. Did she? I'm trying to recall. She did 39,000 again, like a Claudia bid. Like, what are you going for here? And then Santina, who ultimately wins this competition. You know, and so she goes for the 50 grand. And I'm just what was her winning tiebreaker here? I'm just
okay. Sorry. You can get 49,999.99.
This was 49,099 was the tiebreaker winner here. So,
someone get an Excel spreadsheet and break down the numbers. Not us.
Like I said, it was between her. She had 49,000, and Dan S had 31,000. Right, so it was an $18,000 pretty much swing between the middle there. But it obviously was Santina was closer, so that would be $9,000 less. So it would be between 49,000 or 40,000 was the average.
Okay, yeah,
sure.
Santina was mostly just trying to keep her boobs in her dress for a lot of this.
There was a whole bunch of them that were like. Claudia was also dealing with that issue too.
Yeah, and so was Renee.
Yeah.
Wow, I give you some math facts, and you're just going like boobs.
Come on.
There's more than the number 2, Dave. Come on now.
Well, I know,
Dave is not concerned about the boobs. He's concerned about the clothing options. Dave, while you were gone, I quizzed Foster, and I'm like, "How do you feel about Arissa's dress?" And he's like, "It's fine." Or
they've been mostly good this season
on those things.
Yeah, but I think she was wearing one last week. I think the one she wore on Thursday. I was like,
the black one with the.
Yeah, I was like, what are these buttons you have at the bottom, Arissa? Like, what are these for?
Foster, see, this is what I get.
I know. I don't clearly have the metrosexual passion that they.
I tried to ask Jane. I'm like, what are those buttons for? There was no answer. There was just like,
wait. Hold on a second. You're questioning clothing about buttons? Like, dude, there's a whole like style of men's clothing that's just like, what's this button do? It doesn't do anything. It's just there. It doesn't hook or button up anything. They just put a button there for the sake of buttons. There's like dress coats that have buttons on it, but you can't unbutton the cuff.
Well, I'm not pro non-functional buttons. I'm putting it out there right now. Just like dresses that don't keep your boobs in. I'm not for it either. You know, they still gotta be functional clothing, guys.
Sometimes a strap is needed.
Sometimes. Claudia at least brought one strap.
Yeah, but she was like the other one.
Yeah. going for it, of course, Renee, and seeing all this all played out. Anyway, I thought that this was kind of fine. How this, you know, it was
the
nice.
Table and the lights.
The table is really neat. I'm gonna take a screenshot of that. And then they get into it. Kuzi has the winning bid. Guys, yeah, we're like 22 minutes into this by this point, and we're still. And they kind of tell. This is where we get the reveal. Like they're like, and the winning bid is here. And this is where we find out that Santina is the winner. She doesn't even really realize it, but she kind of does.
Yeah.
When she's told the answer here.
Well, isn't that the best situation? Because you don't want people to like. You don't want to betray yourself by like, oh snap, I got it. Which right. If Hope was playing, he'd be like, oh, I'm serious. No,
right. Get the scene here in the bathroom right after between Dan and Ty, who will ultimately be the two nominees that will come out of this for this, you know, at least heading into the veto. They both don't feel good about this. They're both, I think they're almost suspicious, or Ty is suspicious of Jonathan almost immediately. Right?
Jonathan can't keep a secret.
Yeah. Jonathan can't, he has no like deceptive skills, Jonathan. I don't think he's a blabbermouth or anything like that, but he's not easy to get up there. Don't put Ty. So then Jonathan's going around. He talks to Anika here and Hope in the storage room. Dan looked happy. He thinks it was Dan. And then I think this is the scene here between Santina and Jonathan. Yeah. Santina's like,
go ahead.
And Tina's like, she does a pretty good job of. They don't think it's her. Maybe it's because she's already been the HOH, and they're maybe not expecting her to win for a second time here. I don't know, but the whole house kind of underestimates her.
Anika says she's not too bright. I don't think she would.
Oh yeah, she's like, yeah, no offense, but you're not smart enough to have won this. I think she says that to her. Right?
She doesn't say it to her. I think she says it to Jonathan specifically. And she's just like, oh my gosh, wow, Anika.
Yeah, but Santina, well, she at least guessed right. So she was pleased. She's all happy about this. She tells Jonathan here.
Well, she plays coy, and then she's like, nah, I'm not going to play coy. Just flat out tells him.
She's like, well, I'm not saying anything. Actually, I am. You know, I'm like, okay, so Jonathan's your ally, Santina. You really don't have too many left in the game at this point, you know, because you were so attached to Zach early on. And I think that a lot of people, especially the girls, are distrustful of Santina. She needs allies. She needs somebody like a Jonathan to work with her.
She steps out, then she comes back in.
Yeah. Comes back in, explains all this.
So anyway. The problem is that from that point, Jonathan has conversations with people. And then when he has conversations, he's like, what do you think is going to happen? You know, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, I don't think you're going to be going up. You don't think I'm going to be going up because you're the HOH? No. But I'm pretty sure you're not going to go up. They're like, dude, seriously?
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
Okay, now here's the bigger question, guys, about this whole episode that I have. We see here Santina gets called to the DR. And on the seat, of course, is her Wendy's basket. And she gets, you know, some pictures and whatever. But then she has to go to the pantry to get the Wendy's, right? From Kiefer. I'm like, how would that? Everyone would see this. Everyone would know.
Unless everyone was in lockdown and everyone got called to the DR one by one. Yeah, which they have done, right? In US and Canada.
Yeah, she got her winners and whatever. We had a commercial, so she doesn't go. I guess Kiefer was after the commercial.
Yeah, she has to pick her Wendy's.
No, I guess it was before the commercial. Where was it?
No, it's after. It's lengthy after. Like stuff happens, then she does her Wendy's.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I think I've broken my DLC here. What's it? Yeah, but like, come on, like that just seemed weird and sloppy. I'm like, why don't you just bring her the Wendy's in the DR? Why can't Kiefer just walk into the DR?
Okay, well, you're figuring it out, and as the special guest for her Wendy's date is not this. Oh shoot. Close. Go to it. Is our good friend Kiefer.
The man with the mullet.
Mullet.
Big gullet, bigger heart. Let's go.
Yeah, Kiefer.
One of my favorite players.
She says he's the same culture as her.
Well, yeah, they're both indigenous.
Yeah, I don't know what. Obviously, she didn't give specifics, but she's mentioned that.
She don't know what tribe he's a part of.
He's Haida Gwaii.
Yeah.
Maybe she doesn't know what. I know she's part indigenous, but I think she's also part not. And
it was in her package. Was it Filipino or Spanish and indigenous? One the two.
And Italian, I think, is also part.
Yeah.
So she's a mix, and
Don't Maddie she passes the blood test. She's indigenous.
Right. Yeah. But like I don't know what kinship other indigenous people feel to each other. So because I know they're all different tribes and different backgrounds, but
is that awkward? May I ask you a question? Is that awkward?
That I don't really understand that.
Not. I wasn't asking particularly that you didn't understand or not. I just mean like, okay, I guess I can kind of understand what they're talking about, because if I see another person who is of African descent, Caribbean descent, right? There's an automatic like understanding, like a feeling of understanding, regardless before anything is said.
Maybe
I guess kinship would be the thing. I would figure it'd be the same thing if there was an East Coast person, right? Let's say you hear someone with a heavy accent, you kind of like, oh, you might, your head might turn to see who it is.
Maybe,
right, kind of thing.
Possibly. Like I think less so. But there's a chance. Like I guess if I was abroad somewhere and I saw another Canadian flag on somebody's backpack, perhaps
you got to check to see if they're American or not.
Yeah, but even then, like, yeah, I guess I just I don't necessarily. I don't think I have that, and I don't think white people necessarily have that often with each other.
I think you're limiting yourself too much. I think that if you find out that someone is from from the East Coast, right? And I think that you would there is going to be an ease that you're going to feel. I honestly feel that.
But I wouldn't know that unless I started asking them about it, right? Like, so I wouldn't be able to tell.
Which is why I mentioned the accent.
Yeah. I think Newfoundlanders potentially, because their accent's so much more distinct.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, but I think
those
that
two, they have you can have a very visual, like, you're able to have that insight very easily because it's a very visible situation for them.
Yeah, well, I understand that her seeing Kiefer, because they're both indigenous and they have that in common at least, was significant for her, something that she was able to talk to, and I was like, did they fly Kiefer here just to deliver Wendy's? They flew him here from why not? Northern British Columbia.
Why not?
Yeah, all right, sure.
Look, hey. It was either Kiefer or they get Suzette from season 1. I think they made the right choice.
I was happy to see Kiefer. I was just like, considering how remote he lives and how far away he is, but like Toronto.
He's like, these are the three indigenous people that have played, right? Suzette, Kiefer, and Santina.
Wasn't like Sydney with an S or Cindy with an S indigenous too?
Was she? I thought she was Asian.
And there was also that woman in one of the early seasons. Remember the one who just answered the phone?
Suzette. Remember her name? Yes. The radio personality.
But last season there was that other guy, like they.
Oh yes,
Jay.
Runner up.
No, an early boot. There was Jay who got booted early.
Yes, you're right. Sorry, Foster. We're just kind of reminiscing.
How many indigenous people have been on Big Brother Canada? We're like maybe 5.
I stayed corrected. I said 3, and well, that just goes to show. a lot better than a Big Brother US in terms of indigenous representation.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know which country has more indigenous people. I guess the Americans would, right? I don't know.
Just by sheer population alone.
Yeah, because it's only indigenous people only make up 5% of our population or less, I think, nationwide.
Yeah, but like 1% of the U.S. population is going to be like 20% of the Canadian population.
Right, like 1% of the U.S. population is like 10 million people. So
yeah,
that's almost a third of Canada, right there.
Right. Did you get your scenes back in order so it could switch off? Because I only have one more picture.
Sure, yeah. Like I get the.
So Foster, what are you having for Wendy's breakfast? Because I don't feel comfortable with the cinnamon treat thing. I'm not digging that at all.
Unfortunately, I'm as much as I still have not gotten my Wendy's breakfast. I'm at a crossroads. It's a frustrating time. Let's just say that.
Okay.
Yeah,
will you have Wendy's before the season is over?
I'm gonna try. I mean, like if I'm motivated enough, like if you're challenging me and you remind me, then I will get it.
I'm not trying to challenge you. I don't think that's fair to you.
I like it. I'd like it to be a challenge because that would motivate me. I like a challenge, just like the challenge. Dave, hey, yeah. But if Dave is a witness, if you're challenging me to have Wendy's breakfast,
I'm challenging you. This is witnessed.
This is witness. Okay.
Okay.
Well, this is a tall task to fill. The bunnies mirror better be.
We need to see you eat Wendy's.
Yeah. Who's gonna go to Wendy's with me at breakfast?
What's to come to Wendy's? I'm doing my what's his name to get that guy.
So good night, house guests.
Good night. You look bad.
Good night.
Oh, no, it's this one.
Get back at them.
That's it.
So great. He's so great.
Okay, so I got the scenes back. So this was where we had the whole Kuzi and Ty. It was this point in the episode where these two talk, and they kind of, talk about whatever. Ty is at least not like, I'm quitting the game tomorrow, and he seems to have really pulled all that back, mostly. I mean, at least in his diary room this episode.
Yeah, at least in the diary room. Once again, we'll talk about it afterwards
in the spoilers section.
It's not even spoilers. It's not even spoilers. They just didn't feature it on the show. So up in the air right now, we've already seen Santina kind of mention what she's thinking of in terms of who the nominees are going to be, and there was talk about what if Ty goes up. During this time, Ty was talking to people and saying, if I get put up, I might just walk out.
Then you definitely put him up.
Right? Which was putting pressure for people not to put him up because they're like, wait, is another person going to walk out? And like...
Who said that? Sorry.
Ty was saying
that in the house, apparently. If he was nominated, he was... You know what? Like, I think that you should almost be automatically nominated, unless it's a tactic. Unless it's just a tactic he's using to keep himself off the block.
But like, you have to. But if you're playing this game, you have to call his bluff.
Oh yeah,
you have to.
Right? Who's here? He's here. There was Ty here talking to Anika. They're all like Johnny being like, and Jonathan being like the number one suspect as far as everyone can tell, that he's too happy. That
a lot of people thought it was either Jonathan or Dan S.
Turns out to be neither. Turns out to be Santina. But yeah, like this is where we have where it's Johnny talking to a few different people here. About a few different people, talking to Hope and Anika in the pool room, right? And he's like, "Don't worry, you're all safe, guys. I don't know who the HOH is, but it's not me, and you'll be okay." So I don't know. Maybe if they were better at process of elimination, they would have all figured out it was Santina. Does anyone else know it's Santina other than Jonathan? You think?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. I always look at their clothes and like what is considered fine and what isn't. So like people don't wear like branded shirts unless it's Nike, right? But like they'll wear shirts that say like $100,000 or see that just came up and that's what the first thing. Let's say Chicago, for example, that Anika was just wearing, and that's fine.
If I went in the house, I would do the Swaggy C, guys. I would get all my own brand. It would just say Dave Mater on my shirt, and or it would say nothing at all.
Well, you'll have a Chilltown type shirt.
Perhaps, yeah. Because that was the best of Swaggy C, how he came in with his own brand name. And then Tyler's like, we have to vote this guy out. His name is Swaggy C. I was like, what does that mean? What does Swaggy even mean? Why is the word swag make him a good Big Brother player? It wouldn't.
So you wouldn't wear the place where you work, like if it's a school, like Dan from Big Brother US always used to wear like his Michigan, his schools, like he would wear like his school sweaters for the school he works at and which he coaches at. Yeah. I'm like, what was this free advertising for this school? We see Claudia and Ty kind of make up.
I hated this.
I hate it too.
Can this woman not like grow a backbone? You know, I just say that this guy is a creep.
So there's a lot of conversations that wonder, are we not seeing it all in terms of what the girl's perspective is? Because you're kind of hearing it from two different sides. And is it just one side where it's the Renee focused narrative versus the Claudia and Shania narrative? Because
we hardly get anything from Shania in the diary room ever.
Yeah. So the three of them are in an alliance together. Their alliance name. Does anyone want to guess what their alliance name is? I bet you couldn't get it.
Lady Town.
It's the Girly Pops. Okay, the three of them are the Girly Pops, right?
Okay.
And you keep on hearing like, okay, Claudia has Ty, Shania has Dan S, and Renee's by herself. But it
Renee has Hope though, right?
So Hope and Renee aren't as close as they used to be. Right, because Hope has been really close to Jonathan, and so the other alliance in the house with a name is called the Shady Bunch, which is Anika, Kuzi, and Dan S. No, Dan C.
Dan C. Dan C is the worst alliance member you could ever have. Okay, like this guy he'll jump to whatever alliance best suit him in that moment. So,
and then they have picked up Jonathan and Hope to make a bigger alliance called the Crown. So Santina kind of missed out on that, but who knows? Like maybe Jonathan's gonna try and get them to swing them together, right? You have your all girls alliance plus Daniel C, but are you really trusting Daniel C like at this point?
No one should.
Unless you're the girls like Claudia and Shania.
You can trust that Daniel C will go with whatever way the wind's blowing. Like you can trust Daniel C to be consistent in being himself.
So okay, going back to the last image that you just shown before that. See how big that's where they do their comps. It's this big open area where they work out and right. So that's straight outside the doors.
Right. Yeah, and it seems like they were. I don't know if they were forced to all be in here at this point because of the lockdowns, or if they were all just choosing to be in here at this time.
I think it's a lockdown. People don't want to stay out here all together at the same time unless they have to. It looks like they were hunkered down.
Hunkered down. This is maybe when Santina got her Wendy's.
Probably, or just before the veto comp, because these can all be shown out of order.
Right. Can I also just say that I hate Dan S's little crucifix earring that he has on his left ear? I am not a fan.
Because he just has one?
Yeah, and it just dangles there, and it drives me crazy.
That's an 80s that's an 80s move.
Maybe that's why I don't like it. It looks like he belongs like in like the Lost Boys or something. I don't know, but it's just it's not going for me. I thought it was interesting that Dan S has a relationship with Shania. Like that was new.
Well, once I believe once Zach was gone, they kind of started getting close.
Right. Because Zach not being here, I think it kind of opens up the game. And I think once Ty is out of this game, hopefully, like maybe we can have a much more interesting social
with
game.
Claudia and Jonathan.
Well, I just think that Ty, especially when it was Ty and Zach, they loomed large over that house together, and now you can see that that's been diminished, but it's not completely gone because I think Ty is just a very controlling, very pushy guy. Whatever. Oh yeah, so this is where we come back to the Wendy's. Okay, we get all like Kiefer.
You would have liked Kiefer a lot, Foster, a lot.
Yeah.
He's a pro-action guy. Pro-action guy.
Yeah, where's my Kiefer quotes? You know,
We do. We're damned if we don't. Yeah. We have to try, Tara.
I know.
This was the plan.
Don't call me a coward, Tara.
Don't call me a coward.
Call me a coward, Tara.
Are you playing right now?
Just call her out straight there. So great.
2 balls makes this twice as hard.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It was nice to see Kiefer back. He was cool.
Look, okay, everyone is getting strawberry lemonade because strawberry lemonade is elite at Wendy's. If you're getting a drink, you get strawberry lemonade. That's like the best thing they have in terms of drinks on their menu.
It's just that's what you go for. You can't get that anywhere else. You think McDonald's has that? Forget it. It's
friggin' sugar in a container, but it is tasty. It is tasty.
Yeah. Wait. Gotta go for it. Santina, but she had to eat her like McNuggets or I guess her Wendy nuggets.
No, those are the cinnamon. Like that's the cinnamon. The cinnamon sticks.
Oh, the cinnamon sticks. Chaffa. Get this out of here. With no good. And then we get commercial. We still have a lot more episode after this. Yeah, where she's just in the HOH room. No one thinks she's like, I don't know who it is. Yeah, maybe it is Jonathan. But she's kind of just playing people, like talking to Ty. Ty has no idea. She's like, do you think that Dan S would put me up if he had the power? He goes, maybe, but probably not. You know, and
he's like, it's like I know who it is. I'm gonna know who it is because like I can read people very well.
I can read people.
She's like, yeah.
Why do you think that Santina, who needs allies, doesn't want to work with Ty?
Because why would you want to work with Ty? He's like dead to. Would you rather work with Ty or Jonathan? You want to get in with Jonathan because Jonathan is, he's going to be loyal. He's proven that he's a loyal dude, that he'll fight for you, right? As he's shown with Dan S. Right? So
no, not
this conversation too. This conversation with Dan S and Santina in the pantry was so bad. Dan S is a bad Big Brother player. Period. After this,
just good at challenges.
He's good at challenges, but he was just like, well, we never talk, Santina, and we're not friends. But right now, I don't think I would put you up. Probably not, but I might, But, just trying to be like, is this how
I can't promise you anything.
I can't promise you. Promise her things. Who gives a shit? Like, it's you just this man.
Bounce as many checks as you possibly can.
Yeah, like. Get out of here with your stupid little dangly earring and your no sense of this game. And you fire it. Oh, they could get a good shot of it there. He actually has a cross on both ears, but I don't care. Yeah, there he is.
I don't understand. Like in Big Brother, like if you don't like you write a check, and then if you don't, you're not HOH. They can't like what are they gonna do?
Right? Ironically, this is the episode where they had to write checks, Jaemeel.
checks.
On their bids for what they were going to go for, and some of them like, I've never had to write a check before in my life,
Which, you know what? Hey, I don't doubt that. I used to work at a company that its main thing was making like actual checkbooks.
Right. Yeah.
So they got into that business.
Even when I have a checkbook, but when I actually have to write a check, I'm like, how do I do this again? Like I have to write the line with the 00 and the cents and all this,
Yeah, people don't know how to write checks anymore.
I always have to be like getting in there. Okay, and then Santina and Jonathan in the backyard kind of talking about what they want to do with these nominations. And I think this conversation ends with Santina saying everyone is going to be shocked. But the house is going to be rocked by these nominations. Ultimately, she puts up Dan S. and Ty, which is what most of the house wanted anyway. So, what
I think
why
I think
not?
that well no, because what I think that she decided was because she was flirting on the idea that she would put up a girl against one of the guys. Right, so that
as a pawn,
so that they would vote for the guy, right? But here's the thing. So if you do that, first of all, you lay your cards out a little bit early, right, in terms of who the target is, and second of all, when she put up both Ty and Dan, it did the least amount of, at least for now, damage of who done it. Because if she put up a girl, then it would be like, okay, well, that automatically eliminates like Renee, Shania, and or Claudia. Thank you. So it's
actually they would have thought it was Renee because Renee does not have a guy with her. They're like, she would definitely want to get rid of the guy so that she can, get the girly pops to be closer together.
Right. I think that this was the right move for Santina. Ultimately, I think that this is. I was happy to see Dan and Ty go up here. Maybe one of them pulls themselves down. Who cares?
So ultimately, that's the reason why they have to put both of them up, because if Dan or Ty is left off the block, one of them's gonna gun for veto, and then they'll be able to take either whoever isn't off, right, and then also be safe, which that means both of your targets won't go home.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's why they had to put both,
especially on an invisible type of HOH. Like there's not. If Santina could play this completely anonymously, and it sounds like they'll eventually figure out it was her anyway. But like put them up. Who gives a shit? Like were you worried about Ty and Ty being the only thing to be worried about is Ty being mad at you, and why? Because he might win HOH one day and he might put you up. But
is he going to go after you? Or is he going to go after Hope first?
Right. Sir Hoppington or whatever he calls Hope. And so then we get to the nominations, which I thought were kind of standard. Of course, we got the whole invisible HOH of things. Foster, did you like this? This like
it was a little overboard, but I would have been fine with just the voice, right? Like house guest. This is the nominations. Dun dun dun, and then it would be like, and then it would be like Dan S, and then it'd be Ty. Yeah, so like it didn't. Just a little bit. It was a little more
dramatic. That's Big Brother Canada.
Yeah,
they were very dramatic with it. And what was with Renee's reaction here, where she, like the jaw drop once Dan went up?
Because I think she swore it was Dan S who was HOH.
Oh, okay, so that's why she's shocked.
So she's like, "Wait, what?
What?"
Unless he's dumb enough to put himself up.
Maybe he is. Yeah, so Ty was pissed, clearly, by the whole thing. And they're left with it. Okay, and then getting into the veto, and we get our hugs and everything else coming out of this. Dan S. I think Dan S. is a more likable TV character than Ty. I like Ty is my target for this week. So I want to see him go, guys. But I'm almost dying, Jaemeel. Like, should we get?
You honestly don't know who won veto.
I have no idea. Do you? Since you know, maybe we should.
Don't say it on the. Don't say it here on the. That'll wait.
You don't want to
Thursday
spoil it?
No, don't spoil it on the podcast for Thursday. We'll say it after the show.
Okay.
Well, Thursday it won't be spoiled.
We have a spoiler warning sound, Josh.
Oh, do we? I just want to make sure. Like, I don't want to, disrupt the masses.
We always do. Whenever there was live feeds, we would do the spoiler warning before.
Yeah, let's do it then.
All right, here you go. Oh, what is it? Yes.
You got your way.
There you go.
Oh, good old Brittany from Big Brother US.
Like Big Brother US 21, maybe
something like that. So the veto was based around like making slop, but they had to make a specific amount of pounds of slop, which was I believe based upon the average on the HOH tiebreaker. So like about 49 pounds of slop. So a lot of people competed, and it's a visible veto winner, and the veto winner is Dan.
S or
C?
Dan C.
Yes.
Okay.
And he's the veto holder.
Daniel. Okay.
Yeah.
And he's the veto holder. Would he want to use this on either of these guys? He does. He does want to?
Yes. Yes. And
don't
he's
tell
gonna
me.
take someone down.
Just don't take Ty down. Please don't let it be Ty.
He's looking to take down Ty.
No. This man, I can't stand this man. I'm talking about Daniel. I'm like, what is this guy?
So, okay. He's talking to... So, Kuzi has already kind of set the stage because she knows he's probably going to do it and talk to Ty and make it seem like she's going to try and convince whoever she can to take him down so she can kind of get in his good graces just in case, right? Now, the problem is selling it to Hope and Jonathan. So, the way they talked it to them was, we're going to try and see if we can get Ty to kind of help us out next week if he wins HOH, right? So, or promise a vote so that, we can kind of direct him towards whoever we want to direct, right? But if he doesn't win HOH, then he's fair game and nothing really lost, right? So, and how many times has he won HOH? Yeah, he hasn't won HOH. So
he hasn't won. Dan has,
right? So,
but why does Daniel want to save Ty? Explain this to me.
That's a very good question. Look, because, and keep in mind, like, if you need Dan C, you kind of have to just throw him this bone because he might do it with or without you. And last week you already told him, no, you can't save your man.
Right.
This time it's like, okay, go ahead.
You can't vote to save him. You can't vote to save it. He was told by Kuzi, you can't vote to save Zach.
Yeah.
We need your vote.
This time they're like, go ahead, we'll support you so that you can placate him.
Okay. But then but who's the replacement then?
They're probably gonna put up a girl. They haven't done so. Veto was so the digital daily was I believe for Sunday, and veto was done on the veto ceremony was done on Monday. So next digital daily we should find out
which girl sitting next to Dan.
Shania definitely.
Does that ensure that Dan S goes?
It should.
Like, what if you put Claudia next? What if you put Claudia next to Dan S?
No. Oh, same thing.
Same thing?
The
same difference?
You're going to make sure that she stays. Right? And then Dan is a target for a good portion of the house. Santina's target, Jonathan's target. Jonathan wanted either Dan or Ty. Didn't matter who. Same thing with Hope.
Right. So, right? But I think if you're Santina, you want to see Dan go here. You don't want to see like whoever.
They don't want a girl to go.
They don't want a girl to go. So which girl is is no one going to be inclined to vote for?
Any girl doesn't matter as long as it's not Santina.
Well,
the
it won't
girls
be
do not like
Santina. Santina's making the call. I think that Claudia is the smartest one to put up.
Why?
Because Ty is going to want to keep Claudia. A lot of people are going to want to keep Claudia. And
you don't think they would keep Dan over Shania?
Probably, but not as much of a guarantee. I think it's.
But who's voting? Hope would vote for Dan. Jonathan would vote for Dan.
Right.
I
just think there's a higher chance of a flip. I think there's a higher chance of a flip if it's Shania.
I don't see that at all.
It probably won't happen. What if you put up at Anika?
You can't put up Anika.
Why not?
They would never put up Anika.
She's a strong vote for getting out Dan.
Yeah, you would never put up Anika.
Then we're out of options. See, it's either Renee, Claudia, or Shania.
You would put someone who would vote for Dan, and the people who would vote for Dan for sure are Shania and Ty.
What about who would Claudia vote for?
She would vote out Dan.
Okay, then I guess it doesn't matter. You're right. Like they can throw any of these three girls up, and
any of the three girls except Renee. Renee is too dangerous.
Okay, so it's either Claudia or Shania. Those are basically your options at this point. Or I guess Kuzi wouldn't be because you're saying
there's too much of a chance people would try to
get rid of her. She's too tempting of a target, right? For Kuzi. Okay, so you can't do that. So yeah, okay. Like I would rather the nominations have just stayed the same and they voted out Ty on Thursday. That would have been much cleaner and much nicer. And because I don't think I think Dan without like a strong like Zach or Ty type. I think he can win competitions, but Dan's not smart enough to kind of think of anything on his own. So you can manipulate him whoever you want.
But I feel like Dan by himself, the girly pops would take him in. And there'll be a foursome. A true foursome.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas Ty by himself, he's still segmented.
Makes way more sense. Do you know what would have even been better? Convince Daniel to take Dan S down instead, and then leave Ty up there. Put Claudia next to Ty, and then Ty goes.
Unfortunately, Daniel C has his own mind.
I know, but it makes no sense. Like, Daniel C, he's not a rootable player. I am just putting it out there right now. This bad, it makes it so hard to root for him. I don't know what he's about. Other than he seems to want friends, I guess. It seems to be the only thing I could kind of figure out with Daniel C. Anyway, I think I've rambled enough here.
Yes, you have. We're wrapping up.
Yeah.
So, I hear there's a federation of sorts.
There's a federation of podcasts. You're right. Well, beyond what our content here is on Super Mario Bros. Podcasting, we're, of course, covering Big Brother Canada 11, as you know, as you've been listening to this for the last hour. But we're also covering Survivor Season 44, which will be on tomorrow, talking about that. As they're going into the merge phase of that particular game. Make sure to check that out. And, of course, the other Marvel MCU content we cover here on the channel, like Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, and the Guardians of the Galaxy coming up.
Did you buy your tickets?
I have not yet, but I will soon. I'm always behind. I'm
outside the Big Brother house. I'm Julie Chen Moonves.
I hit that. I hit that button. Yeah, sorry. I'm all discombobulated here, guys. Okay, so it's only when Jaemeel tells me I have to go buy my tickets that I end up usually going to buy my tickets. All right. We're part of a federation of podcasts, including some amazing different podcasts that are, we got, the Simpsons one on Friday. It's called KBBBL with Davan, Francis, and Baker, where they talk about episodes of The Simpsons, most recently Treehouse of Horror from season 2. There's the Hold Up podcast every second Wednesday with Murphy and Davan, where they talk about 3 movies in a different theme. 2 older movies, 1 newer movie. This next one they're doing is internet movies like The Net and hackers and some other thing. And check those out. It's supposed to be good. And then the Graphics Histories podcast that comes out, an audio podcast by Andoria Mayette that comes out where he interviews different people from film and comic books and different industries. Of course, Andre's on Tuesdays with Davan and himself talk about X-Men, the animated series called X-Rated on the network. There's the Hellbound podcast, Alex Blackburn, Michael Chan every Wednesday, an audio podcast. Trivial Debates, where we have a host and 2-3 guests, and we argue about a different topic. Most recently, pro wrestling, which Jaemeel had competed in with Jason Phillips and Andoria Mayette, with Chris the Worldwide Murphy hosting. It was a lot of fun. You should check that if you haven't already.
Jason R. from Hey, you should check this out. Hey,
you should check this out podcast. He's also he says he's a Survivor fan, so we may have him on this channel to talk Survivor in the near future.
Jason, I'm getting closer every week.
Live Long and Podcast, our Star Trek theme channel, where we have Star Trek podcasts. We have our Enterprise, our D Space Nine, our different debate shows and science divisions. And sorry, I lost my thought there.
Science divisions. We also do radio theater. About a month ago, we did a radio theater, or like our radio theaters are based on like plays of old episodes. We make like into a radio play. We adapted a comic book from Lower Decks into a radio play, so you should definitely check that out. Yep. The completed final version will be up in a couple of weeks.
Once I can finally get like someone to leave me alone for like 3 hours, and I can just edit, and then I will do so.
Yes,
excuse me. And
Thursdays we do Picard, the newest
Star Trek Picard. Yeah, coming out. We'll be talking about episode 8 this Thursday. Yep. And the newest member of the United Federation podcast, the newest edition, we got Eamon Mader starting his new audio podcast called Eamon on Track, where he's going to review music albums. That we'll look out for that on the network.
What's track 1?
What's track 1? Well, that's what we're trying to determine what the first album will be. But Eamon Mader coming to you, also known as Sam Jerka. Okay, guys, I got a tingle in my throat.
Yeah, tingle.
Yeah, tingle. Yep. All right. Well, on that note, I think we'll sign off for tonight. And in honor of Kiefer, I feel like we need another Kiefer quote. We'll see you next time. Thanks, Foster. And you guys will be on Wednesday. I won't be with you. I'll be on Picard on Wednesday. But, Thursday, sorry.
He's discombobulated, folks.
I'm discombobulated, guys. Come on.
All out of sorts.
All right.
Steve, what you're missing is a toque. You need to join the toque troop.
That's right. All right. Well, here's my Kiefer quote. We'll see you next time. Good night, everybody.
There's no such thing as a back door when everybody's playing in the veto. I told you it's a screen door. Yes, screen. That's right.
It's a screen door. All right. See you guys.